I think it's time to start focusing on the positive and get over the fact that we have two old white men running for president. One of them is crazy. The other one is normal. This should not be hard.
Yes. Normal. That's normal. I think we know who they're talking about because they're Democrats. And then they went and looted a Walgreens. Stole everything there. One of them led 169 people on the terror watch list across our southern border in 2023. President Trump had 2 people on the terror watch list in 2017 cross the southern border. 6 in 2018, 0 in 2019, 3 in 2020. For Joe Biden, 169 for fiscal year 2023. 98 for fiscal year 2022. Pay no attention to any of that. Amazing stuff. Mayor Eric Adams in New York is slashing budgets everywhere because of all the illegal aliens and the open border. He said, what was the word he used? Destroy our city? I think he said destroy our city. And now cutting $547 million from education and $322 million from social services because of the Democrats' open border, and they're a sanctuary city. Cutting $130 million from the police department. That means more murders. More people will be murdered and thrown in front of subway trains. $74 million cut from the fire department because Joe Biden, and they're all still loyal, faithful Democrats. Completely insane. Completely insane. By the way, the polling numbers, I shared a number of polling numbers with you yesterday. More polling numbers out, extraordinary. The Republicans are doing well on the issues, but, the media is there to kill them, so it doesn't really matter. And Democrats, like Congressman Dan Goldman, that Trump has to be eliminated like he's Saddam Hussein, Dan Goldman is. That's pretty amazing stuff. But on border security, the Republican Party has a 24-point advantage over the Democrats. On national security, the Republicans have a 20-point advantage over the Democrats. On terrorism, Republicans have an 18-point advantage over the Democrats. On foreign policy, a 12-point advantage. But Joe Biden was a foreign policy genius who was going to restore our standing in the world. And on inflation, the Republicans have a 12-point advantage. When asking New Yorkers about the illegal immigrant flood into New York City, 75% of Democrats in New York say that the migrant crisis in New York City is a serious problem, and only 22% say it is not a serious problem. That's tough stuff. And also the NBC News poll showing President Trump ahead of Joe Biden, 46% to 44%. It's got them all in a panic. Got them all in a big, big panic. Crazy stuff. And Joe Biden celebrating his 81st birthday yesterday with an X post. Thanks for the birthday well wishes today, everyone. Turns out on your 146th birthday, you run out of space for candles because his cake did look like a forest fire in Canada. Canada. It's America's hat. And for Joe Biden's birthday, Donald Trump put out a post. Also, his doctor put out a post. The Morristown Medical Group and his doctor, Bruce Ehrenwald put out a statement saying, I am pleased to report that President Trump's overall health is excellent. His physical exams were well within the normal range, and his cognitive exams were exceptional. President Trump put that out yesterday. His doctor put that out yesterday. And, the cognitive thing, Joe Biden has still not been compelled to take a cognitive test of any kind. You remember that President Trump was compelled after lots of media harassment, Democrat Party harassment, to President Trump was forced to take this cognitive test, and he scored very, very well. You remember MSDNC who thinks he's going to kidnap and jail and execute people. They made some mockery out of an elephant versus a giraffe or something like that, but never mind that. Never mind any of that. Just madness. Madness, I tell you. All right, let's go to Virginia, shall we? Let's go to the Attorney General there, Jason Miyares, who was also on the television early this morning. Jason Miyares is a normal person. Remember normal. Remember normal. And I do want to get back to left-wing Democrat Congressman hack Dan Goldman saying Trump needs to be eliminated, which, of course, is naturally interpreted as being shot and killed, exterminated, murdered, right? Because the left murders their political enemies, and the left jails their political enemies all over the world. Look at what Putin's been doing. Look at what the Democrats have been doing. Then note the similarities.
He has to be eliminated.
He does. He's got to be eliminated. Well, and since you just mentioned it, Newsweek magazine with the headline, Democrat calling for Trump to be eliminated sparks MAGA fury, but not Democrat fury. Now, if I sat here, I'm not a member of Congress, but if I sat here and said Biden needs to be eliminated, everyone would naturally say that I'm calling for his murder, right? I would never do that, but Democrat Congressman Dan Goldman, who is a left-wing hack from New York City, whose office was vandalized the other day, spray paint cans and red paint thrown on his door, and calling for the Holocaust of the Jews. And still, it's Trump who needs to be eliminated. Isn't that amazing? The New York Post, Representative Goldman claims he used the wrong word. I used the wrong word when he called for Trump to be eliminated. It's just a minor thing. It's no big deal. And of course, if anything should happen to President Trump, and he's got Secret Service protection, he'll be fine. But, Democrats love terrible things. Gerald Ford was shot at, Ronald Reagan was shot, John F. Kennedy was shot by a communist or by the CIA, which brings us to the next story, actually, because Robert F. Kennedy Jr., now it should be noted that today is November 21st of 2023. That means tomorrow, Michael, what is tomorrow? It's November 22nd, which will be, in 2023, the 60th anniversary of, anybody, raise your hand, of John F. Kennedy being shot in the head in Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas. November 22nd, 1963, 60 years ago tomorrow, the 60th anniversary of the JFK assassination. I'm a patsy, the communist, and he was a communist, Lee Harvey Oswald said. Lee Harvey Oswald's widow is still alive and well in the United States of America. Lee Harvey Oswald's children are alive and well in the United States of America. And I'm going to bet that they vote Democrat. I don't know why. I'm just going to go out on that limb. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr., whose father was also assassinated, John F. Kennedy was his uncle, of course, and the 60th anniversary of the assassination is tomorrow. Robert F. Kennedy's father was assassinated by a Palestinian who was a Christian Palestinian, not a Muslim Palestinian, because he was angry with U.S. policy supporting Israel, just by the way. That's why Sirhan shot and killed Bobby Kennedy in Los Angeles, California, June 5th, 1968, died June 6th, 1968, after midnight. But Robert F. Kennedy took the occasion to demand that the CIA release the Kennedy assassination documents, which they have still not done, even though it is law passed by Congress that the CIA release the documents, and it has been for many years. The CIA has still not released the John F. Kennedy assassination documents. Many believe that is because the CIA was in some way involved in the assassination 60 years ago tomorrow. And the JFK files. Release the JFK documents. The 1992 Kennedy Records Assassination Act mandated the release of all records related to the JFK assassination by 2017. Trump refused to order the release of the documents. Biden if we go back to, but never mind that. Biden refused to release the JFK documents. What is so embarrassing that they're afraid to show the American public 60 years later? Trust in government, our government, is at an all-time low. Releasing the full unredacted historical records will help restore that trust, or not, as the case may be. In the spirit of transparency, a stupid word often used in Washington, D.C., but rarely meant. In the spirit of democracy, they don't know what that means. We, the undersigned, call upon President Biden to obey the 1992 Act and release the Kennedy assassination documents to the public. Now, that is a good idea. I'm in favor of that. I think that should be done. And again, RFK Jr. yesterday made that call, and I think that tomorrow, the anniversary, the actual 60th anniversary of the John F. Kennedy assassination, he will have something else to say about it. Just saying. Oh, also, I would like to recommend something to you. Yesterday, I spent about an hour and 45 minutes watching a movie, a documentary film on Al Gore's amazing internet. Peace be upon him. And I would recommend this film to you. It is a new film, and the Miranda Devine at the New York Post did a story on it yesterday. New film gives real truth in the face of George Floyd lies. George Floyd died while being arrested in Minneapolis for trying to pass counterfeit money. He had a long criminal record. He had fentanyl in his system. He had methamphetamine in his system. He had THC in his system. So he's doing meth, fentanyl, smoking joints, probably drinking too, I'm guessing. But I watched this movie yesterday, and it was good. It's called The Fall of Minneapolis. The Fall of Minneapolis. And it's honestly done. It's methodically done. And now there are things in there that I've talked about many times because I actually looked into the George Floyd fraud early on. Police officer Derek Chauvin was sentenced to 22 years in prison for trying to arrest George Floyd when George Floyd died of a heart failure with so much fentanyl in his system that a coroner said that if they had found him at home dead, that they would have just said it was an overdose. All right? And that matters. That's kind of a big deal. And this film, I found it on Al Gore's amazing internet. I used my iPad. You're familiar with those? It's an iPad. I used my iPad, and I was able to click on their own website and watch it for free, no charge, about an hour and 45 minutes, and it's full of fun facts that every American should know, but almost no one does. Know what I'm saying? Because our news media lies all the time. And so, madness. Now, I would recommend it very highly. It's a self-protective aspect of human nature to put aside painful memories. That's what most of us have done about the murderous riots in the summer of 2020 that were sparked by George Floyd's death in Minneapolis. Now, this documentary film has the goods, has interviews with Minneapolis police officers who were there. 4 police officers were sent to prison. And Derek Chauvin, 22 years in prison. Absolute madness. And this film lays out what everybody should know and things that I've been saying for a long time. But the The arrest procedure, which is what they were taught in the academy, kneeling on the shoulder blade. He wasn't choking him. He didn't die of asphyxiation. He wasn't choked to death. He died of cardiac failure. And at least one coroner said, with that amount of fentanyl in his system, if we had found him dead at home in his Barcalounger, we would have said he just died of an overdose. But this police officer was sent to prison for 22 years, and he's not the bad guy of this story. There are a lot of bad guys, including Keith Ellison, a radical left-wing, racist, anti-American Democrat who was a House member before he became the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota. He's a radical, and he led the lynch mob, and it was a lynch mob. And this documentary film, which you can watch for free, The Fall of Minneapolis, lays it all out. I would recommend it very highly. It's free. It's easy. You can share it with your friends. If they're lefties, they won't learn anything because they're incapable. But I want to recommend the film highly. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Visit chrisplantcruise.com. Let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Terry, calling from Charleston, South Carolina. Terry, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, Terry.
Speaking about Goldman, eliminate. Isn't that what tin pot dictators and the mafia do to their competition?
Yes, it is. Yeah, we're gonna rub him out. We got to rub him out. Eliminate the political competition, and it might be funnier, Terry, if the left hadn't been murdering their political enemies for a century. And as I keep pointing out, these people aren't liberals. They're the left. The left is here, the international left. This is not the 60 years later, the Kennedy Democrat Party, is it, Terry?
No, it's not. And you know, speaking of funny, you know, he said he misspoke. Okay. Well, eliminate also means to have a bowel movement. So maybe it's just a very, very crappy word.
Well, yeah, he said, I used the wrong word. No, but he didn't say that the sentiment was wrong, did he? He didn't take it back completely.
And if it had been a Republican congressman saying that about Biden, they would be screaming for him to be out of the Congress.
100%.
He has to be eliminated.
Now, I've got a London Breed, apparently her actual name, the mayor, Democrat, left-wing, radical, America hater, racist, typical Democrat. And the mayor of San Francisco, a once great city, now a stain on American history, tragically. The mayor was talking to, I believe it was Martha Raddatz of ABC News on Sunday, why they were talking to her. Well, they had the communist Chinese in. They had the communist Chinese, Xi Jinping, and the APEC conference, 21 nations. Joe Biden stumbled all over the place, did everything but fall down flights of stairs, wandered off in the middle of speech by one of the world leaders to go over and try to talk to Xi Jinping, who doesn't understand English, and Joe Biden obviously didn't know that, or he forgotten that when he walked over and grabbed Xi Jinping, and Xi Jinping's looking around like, where's my interpreter? Because I don't know what this idiot's talking about. And then the interpreter came over. But you may recall that they cleared out all the homeless. And my best girl and I were talking about this. Isn't it amazing that there's no video, news, or even cell phone video of the city employees coming in with their trucks and clearing out the tents and clearing out the homeless people? There is no video. What happened to the world where everything is on video? There'd be businesses with surveillance cameras and street cameras belonging to the city and the police. No video of the homeless in droves being cleared out. And then no news when the news media learns that the rows of children waving Chinese communist flags were paid by someone to line the streets to wave the communist Chinese flag in America for a drive-by of a communist dictator, and Joe Biden called him a dictator, and they all got twisted around their own axle around that. There's no media coverage, and amazingly, there isn't cell phone video all over the place of all the homeless encampments and homeless people lining the streets in San Francisco being cleared out. How is that possible? Now, you know, because we've talked about it here, that business after business fleeing San Francisco, businesses large and small, huge corporations, the Whole Foods flagship station. What's that big company my brother used to work for? Had a skyscraper in San Francisco. They moved out. This Salesforce moved out of San Francisco. They employ like 1 million people, and they got out of there. Businesses big and small fleeing the city because of the crime and the homelessness and the mentally ill people. Nancy Pelosi's husband was hit in the head with a hammer at his home by a nutcase who is wandering San Francisco free. Not anymore, of course, but never mind that. But what happened to all the homeless people? What happened to them? Well, apparently they're all back now. But the news media in America, which is not a legitimate news media, didn't bother to cover that huge part of the story. Forget about the children being trotted out to be communist flag wavers, although that's a big story too in a real country. What about the homeless people? What happened to them? Did they throw them in a wood chipper, turn them into a mulch, use them to fertilize trees? Are the trees blossoming like never before in San Francisco? What happened? But let's go to Mayor London Breed, speaking with ABC News correspondent and anchor Martha Raddatz, who I used to work with when I was at the Pentagon. And as I was talking to her in the hallway, nice person. I just wish that people that are paid to be reporters would behave as reporters are supposed to behave. And here's London Breed falling down, lying about crime and mayhem.
When you look at the data of what is happening with our crime numbers over the past 5 years, they are showing a decline, especially with car break-ins, burglaries, and other challenges that people are talking about. And in comparison to other U.S. cities, San Francisco is really at the bottom. So I get that people feel that there are problems and there are concerns. They see the viral videos and they think, oh, what's going on in San Francisco?
Yeah, and people might think, hey, what's going on in San Francisco? Because we see all the viral videos and all the madness. Well, in San Francisco, according to the San Francisco Police Department, robberies are up 12.5%. Motor vehicle thefts are up 7.5%. Homicides are up a modest 2.1% in 2023 year to date. Probably doing much better than Washington, D.C. is, which is becoming Cambodia. But there it is. And Martha Raddatz sits there smiling and nodding. And then they doubtless went out and got a meal together. And they took pictures together. And everybody's palsy because it's all a Democrat Party circle fest in a hot tub, right? Well, then the Fox News channel early this morning, I was watching for you. Fox News channel invited a San Francisco businessman on, Tommy Wong. Tommy Wong is a business owner in San Francisco. In fact, he's in the security business, and he knows what's going on. And he was on in the 5 a.m. hour, and I was watching for you, and said, hey, London Breed just said that over the 5 years, she said, a strange timeline to use, car break-ins and burglaries and other crimes are actually down. Forget about homicide and armed robbery and car theft. Forget about that. Here is San Francisco businessman Tommy Wong.
She has to own up to her failure. The Democratic policies really don't work. 80% of San Franciscans really don't like what's going on, and they really want to change, and she's not listening. I don't know what she's getting her stats from, but she's lying to the people. It's not true. We are suffering here. We're continuing to suffer. Less than 24 hours, we're back to the same type of crime, homelessness, drug use, the people hanging out everywhere. Car break-ins are on the rise again. Homeless people are returning in less than 24 hours.
All the homeless people are returning in less than 24 hours after the communist dictator left. They cleaned up for the communist dictator, and the news media pretended this was all perfectly normal. And ABC News went out there for their Sunday morning show, and Martha Raddatz interviewed her and didn't bring the statistics about robbery being up 12.5%, motor vehicle theft 7.5%, homicides up more than 2%. And no big deal. That's no big deal. Tommy Wong is no-nonsense guy. He is a businessman and a regular American.
It's just a shell game. It's the hide the homeless when the dignitaries are here, and when the cameras are on, hide it, pan a little to the left so you don't see all the deplorable state that the city's in. And when they're gone, I mean, it's still here. They just need to own up to their failed policies.
No, they don't. They're Democrats. They don't have to own up. They don't need to own up because we don't have a news media that will require them to own up. Not a chance. Not a chance. And Tommy Wong is telling the truth, and that's always big trouble. You know how bad that can be. Now, at the same time here in Washington, D.C., and so all the homeless people are back, and the feces and the syringes and the drug abuse, and their plan is to give out free syringes and have more people die and be laying there dead for your children to walk over while taking the puppy dog out for a walk. And everybody's fleeing there, and the business are fleeing there. It's madness. Now, also in the news today, I watched the local news here last night, the Channel 4 news, the local news. Murder after murder, mayhem everywhere. And it's kind of amazing, the Channel 9 news, CBS affiliate. D.C. approaching deadliest year since 2003 after death of 18-year-old man in Southeast D.C. Death of an 18-year-old who's naturally shot to death, right? And one man dead, another injured after shooting in D.C. And I was watching this. I was watching the local news last night. And they came up, the number is 248. And by the time, and that was the 11 o'clock news last night. By the time I woke up this morning, it was 249. It was 249. And 2003 is 20 years ago. That's 2 decades ago. And we are on a path this year to exceed the very, very high number from 2003. In fact, we're on track to blow the doors off of that number. Also in the Washington Post today, not a legitimate newspaper, H Street, like Henry, was once a symbol of D.C.'s rebirth. Now it's barely holding on. The businesses are fleeing just like San Francisco. Picture of a smashed window on a storefront because Democrats go around smashing everything. And they're talking about how everybody, this H Street Northeast, people are fleeing there like the place is on fire. The business owners, the residents, everybody. Also from Fox News, Fox 5 in Washington, D.C., the local Fox channel. Rise in D.C. carjackings linked to repeat juvenile offenders, police data shows. And it turns out that, and Sierra Fox wrote the story, the police arrest the carjackers, bring them into jail. The Democrats let them back on the street, and then they carjack again in no time at all. There's also a case of a guy who keeps shooting people, being arrested, thrown into jail. The Democrats let him back out, and there you go. Because Democrats are quite mad, and they love crime. Skyrocketing carjackings. The carjacking numbers are off the charts. Carjackings are up 104% in D.C. That's compared to last year, not compared to 10 years ago. In 1 year, the number has more than doubled. There was one 3 blocks from my home a couple of days ago. And police say that the volume is overwhelming. Alarming statistics show more than 800 carjackings have occurred so far in 2023, compared to a little more than 400 at the same time in 2022. That's last year. Lieutenant Scott Dowling of the Metropolitan Police Department is in charge of D.C. Carjacking Task Force. He's probably all by himself. You know, here you go. Here's another one. Dowling told Fox 5 that there are often a lot of repeat offenders. For juveniles specifically, he said, it depends on what their record is and if they're going to get detained or not. And if it's their first or second offense, they won't get detained and they're out of there. If they choose to do it again, that's why they choose to do it, because they know they're just going to be let go again. D.C. police data reveals that 66% of arrests involve juveniles. There have been 145 arrests so far, more than 800 carjackings in 2023 compared to 114 in 2022. And this is what the Democrats are doing to San Francisco and Chicago and to Portland and to Seattle and to New York because their policies, as our friend Mr. Wong was saying, their policies are misguided and they don't work. Not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. Telling you. Man, oh man. Manischewitz. All right, let's take a phone call. I haven't taken a phone call in a long time. Let's go to, I haven't gotten to Jason Miyares yet either. I want to get to him. Let's go to Danny calling from Washington, D.C. Danny, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, good morning. Long time no speak to. However, Dan Goldman, let's not worry about Dan Goldman. Rick Wilson goes by the Rick Wilson on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
A couple months ago talking about the common vote. He was on MSNBC. He's on TV and says, look, you don't have to worry about the common vote. Here's the problem. The only way you're going to stop Donald Trump is with a bullet. Quote, end quote. And I've been constantly writing him about that comment, and he's finally blocked me. But you had mentioned something about why they don't want to release the JFK papers.
Yeah.
For the same reason why Coringe keeps referring to the Las Vegas shooting as the worst mass killing in American history, which by far it is not. But they don't want to know about Wounded Knee at Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And, it's like, I don't get it. I mean, with all of this that's being brought out in the open, why aren't people opening their eyes? Oh, and you asked a question, what happened to all the homeless in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Oh, they got moved to El Paso. They're on a shuttle back and forth when some high up decides to go visit an area where there's a problem with homeless.
Well, according to this Mr. Wong, he says that like suddenly 24 hours later they're back on the street again, which wouldn't be surprising. I think they dumped him in Oakland or something for a little while. But our political leadership in the United States is a travesty. And Rick Wilson, I know that Rick Wilson, when Donald Trump was running in 2015, said this.
And the donor class can't just sit back on the sidelines and say, oh, well, don't worry, this will all work itself out. They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump. And
there you go. He's got to be eliminated. You got to put a bullet in Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to kill your children. Donald Trump is going to... This is the Democrat Party rhetoric. It should be fine if the left didn't have the history that the left has. Well, it still wouldn't be fine, but, Danny, thank you. And, we got Dan Goldman, eliminate him. Got Rick Wilson. They got to pull a bullet in his head. And this is all perfectly acceptable political rhetoric. These are the people the media hire to be the punditry, just by the way. Thank you, Danny. The holidays are actually here. That's no joke anymore. And the Jolly Elves at Omaha Steaks, they've got your wish list covered with guaranteed perfection during this Black Friday. That's this Friday and Cyber Monday. Their big sale. All you have to do is go to omahasteaks.com. You can do it today. Take advantage of their 50% off site-wide. And when you use the promo code PLANT, that's my last name, you're going to get another $30 off. Come on, you owe me a beer. Omaha Steaks make great gifts. You're going to be the hero of the holiday table when you give the gift of Omaha Steaks. Score delicious deals on tender, juicy, delicious, extra-aged steaks like, their mouth-watering bacon-wrapped filet mignons. Settle in with your beautiful curated packages, guaranteed to make spirits bright all winter long. With Omaha Steaks, the possibilities are endless. Endless flavor, endless value. Hurry now, because the Black Friday and Cyber Monday deal at Omaha Steaks is going to be gone before you know it. That's omahasteaks.com. The promo code is PLENTY at checkout, saving tons of cash because you hang with me. A minimum order may be required. Yeah, we got Jason Miyares, too, because he's taking on the anti-Semites. You know, the Democrats. That's coming up. Yeah, Democrats talk about killing people all the time. A bullet in Trump's head, and he's got to be eliminated, and he's going to kill your children. And this is standard left-wing rhetoric. It wasn't always standard Democrat Party rhetoric, but it is now. Madness. Hey, tomorrow I want to talk about all the subjects that people don't want to talk about at the dinner table, because it's kind of funny. And it probably won't work. But never mind that. Let's go to Jason Miyares, because there is rampant anti-Semitism on college campuses, including in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And the Attorney General, Jason Miyares, who is a good man, was on the Fox News channel again early this morning and had a couple of choice comments on what is he doing. He's going to the campuses and getting in their faces about allowing this Nazi-style pro-radical Islamic jihadi terrorist stuff on their campuses.
My challenge to these college presidents were in 2017 at the infamous Unite the Right rally in Virginia. Pretty much every college president on the campus around the country condemned what happened in 17 as anti-Semitism, rightly so. Well, I would argue right now nationwide, you're having multiple equivalent of Unite the Right rallies happening every week in this country. People openly advocating for the genocide of the Jewish people in Israel.
We call them Democrats, and they're raising armies of them on college campuses because Democrats, the left. I can't believe I ran out the clock again. I'm going to come back tomorrow.